Welcome to Deep Dive Film School. I'm Adam Sherlock.
And I'm Adam Palcher.
And if you like what you see/hear, please like and subscribe. You can find us on all the spaces and places that people what?
Find good media, that's right. Our most active channels are TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. So join us there for this ride. All right, this week we are doing that one scene from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Sergio Leone, oh man,
Classic.
1966. For those who don't know him, directed Once Upon a Time in America, one of our favorite westerns of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Once Upon a Time in the West. I'm sorry, that's the one. I haven't
Once
seen
Upon a Time in the
America.
West, yes.
But he also did Once Upon a Time in America as well, the Robert De Niro movie. Fistful of Dollars, a few more dollars.
A few dollars more. Yeah. I mean, just the entire Man with No Name saga.
This
right?
is where it began, right? Is this character, this Clint Eastwood character. And, you know, it's funny. This made me, you know, I wasn't thinking of starting here, but, you know, this Man with No Name Eastwood character type is kind of timeless, right? Mm-hmm. He took it from old West stars like John Wayne and Gary Cooper and those guys. And although the Western genre has died significantly,
yeah, sure.
Rarely do we see a new Western coming out. And it made me wonder, like, is Eastwood like the last true cowboy on screen? Like, I'm trying to think, like, maybe you could put Kevin Costner in.
That's what I was going to say is Kevin Costner, especially with, I think,
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone and
sure.
some of those
His
things.
New Horizon series and all of that.
Yeah, but I agree that it's I think from that classic era, especially the mystery of the stranger wandering into town. That's a very particular thing with these spaghetti westerns. And I was thinking about that a lot too, because, you know, and in this particular scene that we're doing, which is the cemetery final scene, the final shootout scene, it's so interesting, this archetype of that stranger wandering into town, and here he's by Tuco, he's been nicknamed Blondie.
Yeah.
Not only is the mystery of the character very interesting, but the other part that I was thinking about is how having a character where his motivations seem strange, seem part of a philosophy that's very internal. The character's pretty taciturn, doesn't talk a lot.
Yeah.
Their motivations are sort of their own. They hold them close to their chest. But the motivations are also the motivations I was going to say the motivations of the heightened reality that the movie prescribes, right? Like why does Blondie have this fair play sensibility? Why does Blondie save Tuco and then turn him in and then save him again and then give him an unloaded gun? And like, why is he why does he agree to this final showdown to begin with? He could just kill both those guys and take the money and be gone. But he has his own code and ethics and these things that you go, technically they're connected directly to the story. They're connected directly to the mythos that Leone wants to produce here. And so I love it because they in no way fit reality. They're not what somebody would normally do in this situation. They are this romantic heightened reality. You know, if Blondie is the heightened reality version of this character, then William Money in Unforgiven is the real guy.
Sure.
Where he's like, I'm not here to talk, and just kills somebody, right? Because you're like, that's what it would really be like, versus this one where he's like, I've written down the name of the grave on the stone.
Yeah.
Who gets to it first? And you're like, well, you don't have to do that. There's no reason why you have to do that. You just did it because
to keep up that archetype of that coolness.
Completely. And I love that.
I do too. I absolutely do, because he's always one step ahead, right? He's the smartest guy in the room.
Yep.
To give a little context of this, you know, what's happened before this, they just blow up the bridge. You get all these dead soldiers that they're walking through, and it's all
a Civil War. Like, it's the thing that's always interested me is you don't think about the Westerns taking place during the same time as the Civil War, but obviously like Blondie
and soldiers,
and Blondie was maybe a Union soldier.
Yeah,
we do see him give a last puff of his cigar to a dying Union soldier.
That's how there's the classic cover over.
Yeah, we see the his serape, the classic serape, because he gives his coat,
and that's what's like on the poster and everything.
Totally.
But, you know, there's this bounty hunting scam at the beginning of the movie that these two guys have to kind of buddy up together. And then there's the third in the race, which is Angel Eyes, who's kind of tracking them the whole time. And know there's gold buried at the cemetery, but they each have a secret, right?
Yeah.
They each have a secret, and they don't want to tell each other until they're wiring up this bridge. And Tuco's secret is the name of the cemetery.
Yep.
And Blondie's secret is the name of the grave.
Yeah. And I know that especially in more recent years, he's been given his due a lot more. But while this is very much Eastwood's film, like Eli Wallach is he's so good as Tuco. He's just, and he's not
the same movie without him.
Yeah, and it's not just him being sort of a quote unquote comic relief at times. He is also the sort of pathos of the movie. Like, he is the fallible human.
Yeah. He's the audience.
Yeah, he's the audience. If Eastwood's Blondie is the archetype of the true blue hero,
It's true. Even when he just tries to escape from him on a horse and he just shoots a cannon.
Yeah, I love with his cigar.
Yeah,
like, could there be a more badass way?
Amazing.
It's such a good scene.
But that's kind of where this scene begins, is when Tuco falls into this tombstone, right?
Yep.
It's kind of like, oh, we're at the cemetery. He didn't even need to know the name. It's already here.
And the pull away to the Sad Hill Cemetery, which was, here's the thing. It was
no CGI here, folks.
It was completely crafted. Not only is it not CGI, it was crafted by Franco's Spanish army. In 3 days, they built the whole thing.
Wow.
So Leone was working with Franco, and he was like, yeah, I can have my guys, I can have my soldiers build this set for you. And, after they made the movie, they ended up tearing it down. They have since rebuilt it.
Wow.
And it exists. Sad Hill Cemetery exists in Spain. You can go and visit it.
Wow.
People, I was like, went down a whole rabbit hole about this online. People go there and take pictures of it. And it looks like that.
Wow. And it's because this shot is pretty epic.
Oh,
and his movies are epic anyways.
Dude, the first time I watched it, I was like, that has to be a matte painting.
Yeah.
That can't be real. It's real.
And he's running through and looking for this name. What is it? Ash something.
Yeah, I had it written down.
Arch Stanton.
There it is. Stanton. Yes.
So he's looking for this grave, and he finally finds it. And he comes up behind him and throws him a shovel and says,
start digging.
Start digging. Basically, you'll find what you need. But there's so many elements of not only this scene, this movie, but this scene that have been poached from pop culture. You have this amazing Ennio Morricone score that is made famous here. The woo woo.
Well,
that whole thing,
and that particular scene,
Tarantino stole music from this. DJ Shadow stole music.
Leone told Morricone he wanted the music in this scene to sound. I love this line. To sound like the corpses were laughing from inside their tombs. Isn't that great? Just all those like, wah, like, yeah, all those like, yeah, those sounds coming up from underneath. Mm-hmm. And the set, it looks like the cemetery from Pet Sematary. It's like all these sideways, like, headstones and like that beautiful middle rocky ground.
It's very classic and recognizable, right? Like, this is something that was just always just in pop subculture somehow, right? It's on The Simpsons. It's on, you saw it here. Like, it's in Kill Bill. It's in that DJ Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all over there. And you're like, oh, you don't realize it until you watch this scene.
It's so iconic.
Like, oh yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Well, and I'd say another thing that Tarantino and we've seen other directors, I think John Woo did this also.
The three-person.
Well, there's the 3-person showdown, but then there's also this what Leone referred to as wanting these dramatic, extreme close-ups, and shuffling through them over and over. And he said he wanted to create a visual ballet where, and it does. It is like eyes, eyes, and then hands, and it keeps jumping back and forth.
Yep.
Well, last week we when we did the Albert Brooks movie and his character is an editor, you think we see the daunting nature of literally by vision alone. You and I are both editors, and we get Da Vinci, we get, we're like
Adobe,
just like forward arrow. That's the frame I want. And here you're literally like
cutting
and putting it down, literally doing that. And you think about this sequence of those jump cuts. There's probably 30 of them in a row. And you're like, the amount of tape to just like tape together each one of those. And how does he know what he's getting? He's doing an extreme close up and he's like, okay, that's probably enough.
Yeah, no.
Knowing ahead of time, I want to cut.
It builds tension wonderfully, right? Like rubbing the bullets, handling their gun, like you said. What's going to happen? Angel Eyes doesn't trust anyone, so they kind of go in this big circle and they all kind of go in their own.
But again, to talk about ballet, angle. There is this moment where they're all standing so close to each other. They don't even necessarily have their guns. I mean, Angel Eyes has his drawn, but Tuco and Blondie don't. They're both just kind of standing there because they've been caught kind of unaware. And again, in this way that pushes the story forward and the drama forward, but in no way mirrors what would happen in real life. Blondie is like, I have the name here on this rock. And then they all kind of nod like, yes, we are all men of honor in this moment.
$200,000 is a lot of money. We're going to have to earn it.
Yep. And so then in this very dancer-like strident move, Blondie walks past the two of them and they all back up. Right. And they're like, hey, we're going to do this for real. And you just go, again, there's the mythos of it turns it into this almost like King Arthur-esque. There's nothing about it that fits into like, what would a person really do? I mean, he'd shoot the two other guys, and as he's dying, it'd be like, tell me where it is. Instead, it's like, no, we will all do this together. We will do this honorable deed. Yes. It's so interesting.
We do find out that he does give Tuco a gun with no bullets.
Which is so fucked up.
Like, he's just so misguided. Like, I feel bad for Tuco.
I know. That's why you like him, because you're just like, and then he's like, get up on your horse or whatever, and he has to put the noose around his neck. Yeah, whatever. I'm jumping around a little bit, but it's just like you keep going. This poor bastard's had a noose around his neck like 7 times in this.
It's true. It's he ends him where he found him, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The same way, but he leaves him half of the $200,000. Yeah. But there are those with loaded guns and those who dig.
Yeah.
You dig.
You dig. Oh, it's so good.
But and then again the noose and everything, but it's just like fucking so cool.
Yeah.
Like Clint Eastwood was the coolest fucking guy in the 60s and 70s.
100%. The reason why Eastwood has that face that he has is he said this in an interview. He has really sensitive eyes. And so he's always squinting because the light hurts his eyes. And you're like, oh, it's not that you're the most rugged badass on planet Earth. You made a career out of the fact that you have really sensitive eyes to sunlight.
But I mean, there's not many cooler characters than the Man with No Name, right? In film history. It's
so like
it's got to be up there as one of the.
Oh yeah.
I mean, obviously he went on to do Dirty Harry, and that was equally as cool in its own different way.
Yeah, but there's something about the spaghetti westerns. It holds a place, and I think that it's interesting that somebody like Sergio Leone was. Like a lot of sort of shoestring budget directors who ended up creating amazing things, it was like out of necessity. He's like, well, I can't really shoot in the West, but I can shoot over in Italy, and like it costs way less. And so it means that the landscapes are different. And it means that, getting somebody like Morricone to do the scores for all of these, like that lent a flavor to it that became the universally known Western thing. And you're like, other than the American actors, nothing about this is about American West.
Yeah.
Right. It's all this heightened reality. And
that Civil War.
Right. And that became our version, our trope of what makes that real. And I just love that. I love that we have that exists now.
I agree.
And if you haven't seen any of these old spaghetti westerns, you have to go watch them. Like
Sergio Leone
they're so good. They're so tastefully done.
And this is a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
I think we forgot to.
And
so the build up to this and ending it the way they do. What a payoff.
Yep.
What an important scene in film history. Not only did it cement The Man with No Name, but this as just kind of one of the all-time great westerns.
Yeah. Double, triple, quadruple crosses left and right. Right? There's always one more little thing to add.
Yeah, again, he's playing a game.
Yep.
He's the smartest one in the room.
Smartest guy in the room. I love that. Yeah.
And it's the beginning of that whole character archetype with Fistful of Dollars and going on and doing all of the other stuff that character ends up doing. But what a fun scene. Kind of made me sad that there's not a lot of Westerns made much anymore. So
yeah, I don't think, I think that again,
they'll remake Young Guns soon enough.
Oh shit. Well, I was just going to say, like, I think that this is also made in a time where to unravel the ball of yarn that is all the politics of what that time period was actually like.
Sure.
This is romantic in a way. It doesn't have to touch on any of that. It doesn't have to touch on the reality. It gets to be this heightened reality. And I think that might be hard to make nowadays,
sure.
Unless, you think about 310 to Yuma or
sure, great one. Probably one of the more modern ones.
I'm thinking of some of the more modern ones, and like they are much more about like, here's how the women at the time were treated, here's how the natives at the time were treated, and they're trying to be much more grounded in reality, which is good. I love that.
Sure.
But I think that only in a period of time where no one was interested in telling those stories could you tell something this romantic and unrealistic and have it work so well.
Thank you very much for joining us. Please like and subscribe. Our most active channels are Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, so please join us there. And next week we'll have another Albert Brooks movie. I think it's Defending My Life.
Yep.
And please join us for that, and we'll see you then.
Bye, you guys.